As the 4th of July comes up, it's a great time for celebrating in America. You have fireworks, music, games, parties, barbecues, and of course, what goes with all of it, beer. Beer is one of the oldest beverages created by man. It's created over 6,000 years ago in the very region I'm at right now, in the Middle East, Mesopotamia, supposed birthplace of mankind. It was discovered by an accident, actually, by Samaritans. But if you ask me, it's probably the best accident that's ever happened. It's according to records, Samaritans were the first ones to brew beer, and this goes back to being the recipes engraved on tablets found that dated back 4300 BC. It was back then it was considered divine drink and a drink from the gods. But of course, the modern day brewing is a lot more complex than it was back then. Major brewing companies nowadays, they go through great lengths to deliver a product of perfect quality. Anheuser-Busch is the world's leading brewer, and when it comes to quality, they're meticulous with everything that they do. They maintain immaculate facilities, their equipment is top of the line, and when it comes to quality control, they test every single batch, and in fact they send a batch from every plant around America to St. Louis by 3 o'clock every day to be tested before any batches get sent out. So they have a product that meets a very, very high standard. But to understand how it all goes and how it all works, of course you need the ingredients. Like I said, I'm going to use Anheuser-Busch instead of the world's leading brewery. For regular Budweiser, you only need 5 ingredients: barley malt, rice, hops, yeast, water, and that's it. With these 5 ingredients, you can brew Budweiser. Now, rice isn't mandatory or needed to create beer, but for the sake of the speech and Budweiser, it is. Now, you can do this at home. However, I really don't recommend it because you're not going to get that great of a product. Since Anheuser-Busch has been doing this for a long, long time, I'm going to show you their equipment and the process that they use, since they've got it down pretty good. Alright, first what it comes down to with these ingredients, you're going to have milling. Milling is just the process of taking the barley malt and the rice and you ground it together to create an even mixture. They weigh it precisely, they mix it together in a masher. Now, a masher is nothing more than a big tank here, and I'm going to demonstrate and show you with the slideshow behind me. I apologize that it's not very clear, however my projector isn't the greatest. The mash tanks, as you can see, sort of, are just massive tanks where the rice and barley malt come together and they're mixed with water. They're going to sit in these tanks for quite a while, and the natural enzymes are going to break down, and the starches are going to create fermentable sugars. Once they're done with the mashing process, they strain everything out, and that leaves the sugary rich liquid behind. It's amber liquid. It's actually called wort. Once you get the wort established, it goes into the brewing process. It's the brew kettle. These are massive tanks where the wort is put into and it's boiled. Once they bring it to a boil, they add the hops to it. The hops does not but create good flavor and color. Once it's boiled and brewed up for quite a while, it goes into the fermenting tanks. In this part, these tanks are massive. They hold a ton of what is soon to become beer. Basically, it sits in these tanks, it cools down, and it ferments for another several days. And once it's done fermenting, you have the finished product, beer. Once it's done becoming beer, it's going to go into lagering tanks. Lager is an old word for to rest, and basically the lagering tanks are for the beer to sit and age and create flavor. They're placed into these tanks. Now, the Anheuser Brewery we'll put them in with birch wood, and the birch wood helps to create a natural carbonation, and they'll sit for a couple, several weeks. Each one of these tanks can hold up to 3,600 barrels, so you're talking a lot of beer, which is a beautiful thing. Once they're done with lagering, you have your finished product. Completely, they'll filter it out, and you have your bottled beer. You can obviously bottle it, can it, put it into kegs, and you have a great product. Now, this process is pretty simple when it comes down to it. There's thousands of different types of beer, obviously, and they're all brewed using these similar methods. But the different amounts of ingredients that you can add as far as the hops and the barley and the boiling temperatures, the whole process can create different types of beers, ales, lagers, and such. Using these different methods will give you a different flavor, a different type of beer, and they're all good, if you ask me. But as the list of beers continues to grow around the world, it just goes to show that people are still experimenting with different types of ingredients, and brewers themselves are keeping us all happy with nice cold alcoholic beer beverages to drink. So, as a reminder, make sure you drink responsibly on this 4th of July and at all times. All right, that's how you make beer and the process and ingredients used. Thanks.